Olin, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, guys. I'm good. What a relaxing morning to call and finally talk about a win and not try to think, okay, how am I gonna say things are horrible up there at Hallis Hall? Instead, this morning you think about handing out the flowers.
And it's been almost a year since you've talked about a victory at Soldier Field, winning at home. They
Mhm.
hadn't done that since October 6th of last year.
Mm.
A
Wow.
remarkable run of futility. But Olin, I think that when you see everything come together, this was
Mhm.
what they expected when they hired Ben Johnson, drafted Caleb Williams, bought this offensive line. I think the offense, they felt good about the running game, but we were just talking, the passing game might have been even more impressive.
It was, and it was good to see, Caleb Williams in control of the offense. Talked a lot about him at the line of scrimmage. Coach Johnson has talked a lot about his cadence, right? The first game at home. And, I remember Coach Johnson even saying, man, maybe we can go on the road and use silent count and fix this. So to see him in charge, guys, he was even making points on run plays, directing the offensive lineman who to block, who may be blitzing, getting the numbers right, getting a man for a man, getting a body on a body, and then converting on third downs, right? 8 for 14 on third downs. Offensive line did a great job, whether it be Braxton Jones, whether it be Darnell Wright, the interior three, who they paid a lot of money, or Theo Benedict coming in on a 2-minute drive to score a touchdown. Did a great job also. Wide receivers did a good job. There was everything we wanted to see when they hired Ben Johnson, right? The creativity, reverse passes, flea flickers, quarterback counter runs. There were things on that film, guys, that I was watching this morning. There were so many concepts that old football guys like me is like, man, you don't need all those concepts, right? That's the kind of thing I would say as an offensive lineman. Give me the same play 20 times in a row so I come off the ball and hit people. But this is what Ben Johnson is known for. Caleb Williams in the pocket, offensive line blocking. Dominic Robinson gets a sack. Tyreek Stevenson comes out of nowhere, has a great game. Tremaine Edmonds getting interceptions, right? Just over and over. Even on the 19-play drive, Kyle Monungai may go 8 yards backwards, but guess what? On that play, Kenny Clark gets hurt. So you're thinking, man, everything is planned.
That's great. You know, we were talking about it a little bit. I don't know how big a fan I am of going for it on 4th and 4 at the goal line,
Mhm.
but that ended up being a backbreaking play, and that ended up being the thing that kind of paid off. And the quarterback did very well on that, and the
Mhm.
initial play didn't work, and he made it last. I love the idea that he's now kind of operating within the scheme, and then he can do something special when a play breaks down. But I want him to still be operating in the scheme, if you know what I mean. And
Mhm.
I'm not sure where I'm at with all the fourth down stuff. I gotta see them do that more successfully as they did yesterday to really be on board.
Yeah, before the fourth down pass, they throw a screen to Luther Burden, right? And that coach Coach Johnson is showing you he's setting them up. He's putting them in range inside the 5 yard line to go for it on fourth down, right? So it's a plan. Okay, if we get what we want out of this screen, we'll go for it. And like you're talking about, Mully, he extends the play a little bit, finds DJ Moore sitting all by himself in the Dallas Cowboys zone, which we could talk about that another day. The zones the Cowboys are playing, but in the scheme, in within the scheme, in the pocket, planting his feet, footwork looking good, in charge of the offense, in charge of the concepts, offense looking good, coming out of the huddle, breaking the huddle, getting the snap count, not a lot of penalties. Right after Tyreek Stevenson pulls the ball out right on the sideline after a good run by the Cowboys. And, there's a penalty flag on the field on the Bears' first run play. I think they ran an outside zone, and you're like, oh no, here we go again, right? But it's on the Cowboys. It's hands to the face. You think, oh, maybe it's a new day. And I'm with you, Mully, on the fourth down. I'm thinking to myself, no, take the points, right? Take the points there. What are you doing? And they score a touchdown there. And Ben Johnson is setting the culture that he wants, whether it's on Monday morning saying, man, we got to practice better. We have better habits, and offends everybody. We go crazy about it. I go crazy about the comment. And then, but I'm going to go for it on fourth down. Their coach is going to kick a field goal, right? I thought 4th and 2, that's crazy. You need 30 points today on 4th and 2 in the first quarter, kick a field goal. Ben Johnson, we talked about in the post game. I'm thinking he's writing good. You kick field goals, I throw flea flickers.
That's
And they
great.
did. So, Olin, in the midst of that 19-play drive, the Bears ran 11 straight running plays. What does that
Mhm.
do for the confidence and chemistry of an offensive line that really needed a good day.
It does a lot, David, as you know, man. It does a lot to get into a game, get warmed up, get some runs in there. Everyone wants to run block. Nobody wants to pass block. Pass blocking is not easy. I always tell people, if we want to figure out how to pass block in your house, just go ahead and back up and have your wife run full speed at you, see if you can stop her, right? That is what pass blocking is. Run blocking is going forward, hitting guys, moving them off the ball. Tons of concepts, guys, in that drive. If you would ask me what is the Bears' run game, I really wouldn't know, man. They got all kinds. They had reverses to Luther Burden. They had a run to DJ Moore. They gave Monangai the ball. They gave Swift the ball. It was a quarterback counter. It was a play they call crunch, which is like a wham trap combined. I could get into all the details, but I think the listeners would fall asleep. It was just a great drive to watch, and then converting third downs and just doing what they wanted to do, and then even overcoming, right? An 8-yard loss by Monangai, which, look, I know what that young guy is doing. He's trying to make a play in there. He finally gets the ball. He wants to score a touchdown. Family probably in the stands. He wants to put the ball in the end zone. Monangai, go forward, man. And they even had one play, I think it was 3rd and 1, right? And there was a miscommunication between Braxton and Tooney, and Swift makes the guy miss and gets the first down.
I got to tell you, I was very impressed that the quarterback didn't get sacked. And I know that sounds crazy, but we've seen him take so many sacks. And is it as simple as him just getting rid of the ball? Is it as simple as him being able to run away from pressure every once in a while? What was how much better did they block? What did you see in terms of combination blocks when you looked at it?
Yeah, just when you watch the film, Braxton Jones played a good game, man. I mean, he really did a good job there at left tackle, and really, hopefully taking a Dan Rochar's coaching and listening, and his legs getting better. Maybe his hands were better, his feet were better. In front of his rusher, he's shutting his guy down. And then, like I talked about, even with Theo Benedict came in on that 2-minute drive, he did a nice job. Offensive line were passing things off. Obviously, the advantage of the cadence at home, Mully, all the things you're saying, right? And Caleb, a little more consistent on his spot. Linemen know where he is on his drop, setting his feet, stepping up into his throw, and all of that combined with the Dallas Cowboys traded Parsons to the Green Bay Packers and not having a pass rush, that all helps.
What did you think of the way, or maybe you can explain why, Tremaine Edmonds had as big of a game as he did? Because, as you know, we have been waiting a while to see him use all of that athleticism and turn it into explosive plays.
Yeah, great interception right on the first one, and it just pops off Pickens' hands. And Tremaine Edmonds is in the flat. He's got zone in the flat. He's got that area, and he turns around and like you said, David, makes a pretty athletic interception there. And we've been waiting for that from him. And then his other interceptions on 4th and 1 on the goal line, and it looks like Dak is, he's just trying to throw the ball. There's some pressure on him for Javon Dexter. I think he's just trying to get the ball out of his hands, and Tremaine Edmonds makes a play there. But like you're saying, the Chicago Bears defense, 3 interceptions in a row to end that game, right? And that's what we've been waiting for. And credit to Dennis Allen with all the guys that he has out, comes out with a good plan to confuse that, to keep the ball in front of them. Hopefully the Cowboys make a mistake. Hopefully they go the length of the field, and then hopefully we get some takeaways. I'm thinking the way they designed that defensive game plan with all the guys they had out, guys, I'm thinking that it actually worked out perfect what they talked about in the room. Like, we know they're going to score, and obviously CeeDee Lamb being out helps out a lot, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to cover their best wide receiver the whole game, but you still, and the Bears aren't going to feel bad for them, guys, right? Their best players are out too. So you go out there, you compete, hopefully keep things in front of you. Never did stop the run. Obviously, we never did stop the run yesterday, but if you can get takeaways, you can keep everything in front of you, you can hold them in a game where everyone thought both teams would score 30. If you can hold them to field goals, it's a win.
Olin, David asked the question to Ben Johnson as to whether he felt that his comments during the week, which became a national story where you don't have a championship caliber practice, whether that is one of the reasons they played so well. Did he feel that he got to the team? He wanted no part of that. Why do you think he didn't want that connected?
He's a leader, right? And we've heard that from him. He's doing things what I would consider football-wise the right way, which is first week when they lose, This is my fault. I need to be better. I got to get play calls better. I got to get these guys moving in the right direction. Then he challenges his team, and shockingly, a story here in Chicago becomes national news, right? We're all used to that. Welcome to Chicago, Grady Jarrett. Welcome to Chicago, Coach Ben Johnson, where everything is talked about and everything gets magnified about 10 times what you're doing, right? Just ask guys who've played there and who've come before you. So, and after the game, Mully, it's, man, all the credit. Right? Like what leaders do is when things go wrong, it's my fault. When things go right, all the credit goes to everybody else. I don't want to talk about what I did. I like that about his press conference. I like that's the way you gain the respect of your team. And hopefully this gets the Bears moving in the right direction. Because like we talked about on the post-game show, it's easy to focus and do details for 1, 2, 3 weeks. The hard part is week 9, week 10, doing the same thing. You got to learn. Coach Marinelli used to say, you got to learn to love to be miserable in the NFL. And that's what we're talking about. It is miserable being in meetings for 3 hours. It is miserable doing walkthroughs at 10 in the morning, concentrating on your footwork, your hands, thinking about the guy you're going against, what technique I need this week, what blitzes are coming, being focused, taking all that information in, and then going out and executing on game day. The hard part, guys, like for your job, it's hard. For everyone's job in the world, it's hard. The hard part is the work before the show.
Yeah, I didn't mind that he was snippy. I don't mind that he didn't want to go into it because I think you're exactly right, Olin. This is not something that you want coaches necessarily to build into more dramatic storylines. That's for us to do or to speculate. I think it was a big week, though. I think we're going to look back at, or at least let's say this. I don't want to get too far carried away. The Bears could use this as a building block, as a platform to move forward because it could have unraveled. Grady Jarrett did sound like he was out of town and welcome to Chicago and didn't realize he's not in Atlanta anymore, talking about the reaction to the 2 losses to start the season. He had a big game and addressed the team Saturday night. Ben Johnson called out his team and it worked. I wonder if they don't blow it in Vegas, if they can look back at this past week, as one where they really started to come together.
Definitely, right? And we've all seen stories like this and heard of stories like this. I remember in 2001, we went out and got some guys like Grady Jarrett and a Ted Washington, right, and a Keith Traylor. We went out and got a few veterans who have won in other places. And I remember I think we beat the Minnesota Vikings in week 2, and we came in a locker room and being, you guys knew our history then from 98 when I was here to 2001, we didn't do a lot of winning. And we were celebrating in the locker room, man. I mean, felt like we won a Super Bowl to beat the Minnesota Vikings in week 2, guys. We had no understanding of what it took to win in the NFL. And Ted Washington screamed at us. He said, guys, act like you knew you were going to win today. We didn't win the Super Bowl. And, I remember sitting in my locker and thinking to myself, man, he's right. I'm over here acting. I'm so relieved, so happy we won. It just takes a lot. Like they're trying to change that kind of culture this week. And we know, like you're saying, David, how far they have to go. Now they got to go on the road to Las Vegas. Now they got to concentrate on their details. All the things that people say that are cliche are all true. And they're working on that in that building. And Grady Jarrett and everybody does, if you came from out of town, you don't understand how many losses you just gave the stat, David, but the last time they won at home. I mean, it's been a long time. So we want to see it again. And this could be their turning point of realizing like, okay, these are the things we have to do as a team to win football games.
This segment with Olin Kreutz is sponsored by Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Olin, I don't want to be critical of anybody, far be it from me to ever
Not
be critical. You know me.
Not you.
I just spread love. But I'm wondering.
Velus Jones knows this.
Favorite player ever. We know that DJ Moore was targeted 5 times. He had 5 receptions, including a touchdown. He doesn't see the ball nearly enough, in my opinion. Rome Odunze was targeted 7 times. He caught 3 of them for 62 yards, and, of course, a big touchdown, 35-yarder. I guess what I wanted to ask, and I know this is really easy watching the game to ask these kinds of questions, but there was one point where the ball was thrown to Rome. He had his back to the defender, and he went up and he got his hands on it, and then he got really drilled in the back and couldn't complete the catch. The same play happened on the sideline with DJ Moore, and Tom. And he made the catch, and Tom Brady said, wow, what great hands. Look how he squeezed that ball. And look how, I guess my question is Rome going to be that way eventually? Is that what player development is? Are we watching a guy who did great things at Washington? You watched his college career, and then has struggled a little bit to translate that into the NFL. Still a really good player, still can make great stuff, but the amount of opportunity he gets now. Every once in a while, Caleb is going to skim a ball off the ground, and that's not a fair way of talking about it. But I thought both guys got hit in the same way, and one guy hung onto the ball and the other guy didn't. And again, I couldn't do that, so it's difficult to be critical of it.
I appreciate the Washington shout out.
You
Say
got
who,
it.
say dogs. Listen, and I know what you're saying, Mully, and some of the plays with the drops, you don't like to see that, especially in moments where you need that catch, right? And that's what Rome is here for. He's the big body wide receiver, strong hands. That all the things they said about him coming out of college. Now he has had 2 really good games in a row, right? He's done. If you just look at his stats, and I know what you're saying on that play with DJ Moore, and it's interesting to listen to Tom Brady talk about. DJ Moore, how physical he is with the ball in his hands, and he wants to score every time. And Tom, when you listen to him do the TV game, he really just tells you what he thinks he sees on film, right? And he's that kind of, you can tell he's a film guy, he's a film junkie, he's a gym rat, he loves the game. That's what he sees from DJ Moore when he watches the film. Now, Tom is he just likes to give out compliments and he doesn't go after guys too much, and that's just his personality. But as far as DJ Moore goes, remember during the week when Ben Johnson first said that, everyone thought they were talking about DJ Moore. And then you hear a guy like Tom Brady say, but man, this guy fights for things. Look, I talk a lot about when I first got here, I learned a lot from Casey Wigman, who's a center. But before me, I learned a lot from older guys on how to study, how to prepare, guys like Big Cat Williams, guys you learn from, and you keep developing your game. And I will say this, it looks like Rome is developing his game. And if he can, like you're saying, Mully, get that from DJ Moore. Get the tough catch, the fit. Man, look at DJ. Talk to him. Like, what are you thinking about when you're catching that ball and squeezing and someone's about to hit you from the back? DJ may say, like, don't lose concentration, man. Expect to get hit. Tuck that ball away. We got to make those catches. If you can learn things like that, then the way you designed your wide receiver room, guys, worked, right? You got veterans in there. You got good coaches. You got guys. That's how you develop in the NFL. You get your training. You got your nutrition. And then you watch guys and you watch film and you get to talk to guys who've done it before. Success leaves clues. Success leaves clues, and DJ Moore has had success, and Rome is lucky to have a guy like DJ Moore in that room, Mully, like you're saying, a guy who makes the catches that eventually Rome is going to have to make for the Chicago Bears.
Maybe Tom Brady just thought maybe DJ Moore would make a good future Raider.
Yes, and DJ Moore is a good wide receiver, and I wouldn't blame him for thinking that after taking a little peek at the Las Vegas roster.
And DJ Moore had to appreciate that kind of praise coming from a part owner who happened to be in the booth.
Yes, that NFL is a very interesting place, as it has been for a while.
Great stuff, Olin. Appreciate your time.
Thanks,
Thank
Olin.
you, guys.